Morning, guys. Welcome to iPunt Smart. Yesterday, our Greenie Duchess of Cornwall arrived, and the Value Bet Avenir ran second. So that was a decent day overall. Today looks pretty tough at the Vaal Classic. Good to soft conditions. Lots of rain, 9.5 millimeters over the last 24 hours. 44 millimeters over the last 7 days, and quite a wind as well, 23.29 kilometers an hour in good to soft conditions. It looks like a tough card, to be quite honest with you. Nothing really standing out. Maybe the Greenie is my best bet, but I'll even back that up with the Massacre in that race. So let's get through it. In the first race, we start off with the Work Riders Maiden, and that in itself is never a very good, confident thing. It is a 1450, and that means a little bit of soft conditions on the foot. 1450. I see that Fate of the Furious was 14 lengths in yielding conditions on the 1600 Vaal, and Wonderful Rock in that very same race was 15 lengths, but now carries 2.5 kilos more, so his bat figures is not as good, but he does get a lot of support on Interbet. And then going down the list further, there is quite a few question marks on quite a few things. So I've gone with my first choice joint really between Lady Calavera and Fate of the Furious. Lady Calavera hasn't done the distance, but does have the best bat figures, and Fate of the Furious was ahead of Lady Calavera on the 21st of January. That was over 1200 meters. They were both similar in the markets, 28 to 1, 25 to 1. Lady Calavera now has tongue tie fitted as well. And yeah, 1600 meters Fate of the Furious has run before. Fate of the Furious for 5.61 bat on a 1600 Vaal was really decent. Wonderful Rocks, the exact course and distance 1450, has the blue bat 7.32, which is only 0.7 worse than Fate of the Furious. Fate of the Furious actually a little bit more than that, 1.71 on that 5.6 lengths run. So I went with Lady Cavalera and Fate of the Furious as my two first choices. And then my third choice, I ended up going with Ocean's Pride here. Ocean's Pride on the most previous runs, the 28th of January, ran a 1450 Vaal Classic, 3.4 lengths behind the winner. Does have quite a decent jockey in Joe Gwingwicha, and the 7.69 bat versus the Wonderful Rock 7.32 bat, very similar. Difference being that that was on the 2nd of June, and Ocean's Pride did that just last week, 28th of January. So Ocean's Pride is my third choice from a more probable consistency perspective. My fourth choice, Leveche, has done a one run. Alec Laird had a nothing run just last week, and then the second run, Kumalo was on board and it won at 10 or 12 to 1. So could happen that Leveche was that same kind of run where the first one was just a reconnaissance mission and a lot of improvement after that. So Leveche, my next best. My fifth choice then is Opera Glass. Could also improve after that one run, and was a little bit ahead of Leveche, 0.8 lengths ahead. Moffat and Mabaya, decent work rider. And then Wonderful Rock. So any of those six can actually win it, not part of any bipot or nothing. Moving on, bipot second leg, 2, 3, and 4. My first choice is Irafan's Boy. Second choice, Kuma. And my third choice, Sequoia. Ashley Fortune has Irfan's Boy. 800 meters Vaal was in the yielding conditions. He now gets gelded, and his adjusted time 58.8 versus Kuma 58.86 is very much the same, but in saying that Kuma was over Turfontein and 1,000 meters. Irfan was at Vaal 1,800 meters. On top of that, Kuma gets Hewitson on board now, but loses 2.5 kilos, um, moving from 57 into 60. So all of that being considered, 2 or 3 or 4 could all win it. The next leg, I have another race that's pretty much not easy. Take Control, Pink Diamond, and there she goes. Is my first 3 choices. Very little data to go by. Not going to say much about them. In the next race, Shadow Creek, Mike the Cock, and Randall Simons is probably the best value for me today. Randall Simons only got 2 for the day. Mike the Cock has got 6 for the day, and just looking at what Mike the Cock has for the other, it looks like this could be his best one. And the bat figures of only the top 2, Shadow Creek and Grimaldi, is very close to each other, 3.2, 4.3. And then the greenbacks takes a bit of a dive to Mukabezi at 6.5 and 9.6 on Parallax. So I think, yeah, Shadow Creek and Grimaldi, my first 2 choices, 6 and 14, followed by the number 2, Mukabezi, and then the 8 and the 7, which is Parallax and Forest Phoenix. And I just saw that I made a mistake by not putting the 2, Mukabezi, in here, so just fixing that while I'm talking. Sorry for that. I made a mistake, and the other day I made a mistake. It cost me 900,000 bucks because I didn't put a number 1 in one of the races that I selected on the stars, but I didn't put it in. So it can happen, and it was very costly. Hoping to not do that too often. So 6, 14, 2, 8, and 7. In the 5th race here, I have Sean Terry with Senescence as my greenie. If I'm looking through the card for other Terry runners, then I see Kumo is one that's a potential double here for Kumo. So Kumo has got a decent chance as well. Then Sound of Warning, I don't know, but it is backed in the market. And the only other one is Senescence, the last for Terry for the day. And yeah, I think 7 and 1 is the best ones to consider here. Giving Gavin Marina another go coming back here. It is in 1800 meters. His previous 1800 meters on the Vaal, he ran 3rd. Masakan and Senescence ran on the 21st of January, 17 and a 2000 meters. The 1700 meters is 60:43 adjusted time. Masakan 2000 was a 61:71, and the real thing that makes a difference is the 5.5 kilo going up, and that 5.5 kilos brings that run into a 15 bat figure. He was better on the 1600, and he was better with Callan Murray on board when there was some support, 17 to 6.5, and it was in yielding conditions, and that 5.82 very much does appeal to me as very close to that 4.81. So those 2 is a little bit of ahead of the field from what I can see. I'm going to go just 7 and 1 here, and then 5, 6, and 9 in the pick 6 as a backup. 5 Duchess Bernadette, that's now also doing the 1700 Vaal on the 21st of Jan, was behind Senescence the greenie, so should have him covered. And then Perfect Passion, that had a decent run with Chase Majan on board 4th and 3rd the last times. Way to Dream is scratched now, and the Sophia's First, the 5th choice. I do think Senescence and Masakan should fight that one out. In the next race, the 6th, I ended up with going with Zealand Zest, but I'm waiting for that result first because Pomander has got a bit of a chance as well. There's 2 Gally Alexander runners, Zealand Zest and Odd Rob. They're both similarly odds in the market, and they ranked 1st and 2nd. The difference being, of course, Zealand Zest has a 1.17 bat, and Odd Rob has a 7.07 bat. So the 2,400 meters of Odd Rob, though, was a 7.07, and the 2,000 meters was a 1.17. So those two should be very close together, and any one of those two can actually win it. The other one that I'm interested in is Pomander, and if I look at Pomander's figures over the 2,400 meters, he was pretty decent as well on the 14 bat. So clearly the Odd Rob 7 bat is better than the 14, and the 23 only of Zealand Zest. But Zealand Zest made a lot of improvement in the next race over the 1200. So I think all of those three has definitely got some sort of a chance in this race. Maybe the toughest race in the card. So I've gone 4, 7, 1, and then also 6, 5, and 9. Port Key, Tyrus Express, and where's my 9? 9 is now gone, so that's good. That's good news. That's one less to worry about when the 9 goes. So we'll keep the 9 there for if the favourite does perform over the longer distance, then we'll double up in the pick 6. But it does look quite a tough little race, so I'm not going to say anything more about that. In the next race, the 7th race, here we have 413, Emmeline, Legal Star, and Console Queen as my first 3 choices. It is another very long 2,000 meters, and nothing really standing out here apart from Legal Star with the red bats, and that 2.97 was achieved on the 1600. So if he does like the extra further, then that'll help a lot, but he does not like the yielding. If I take the 2.9 versus the 13, that could be the conclusion that I come off. The best green bat is definitely Emmeline at 17 versus then Consul Queen at the next best 24. So 17 green bat, Consul Queen 24 also has the best exact course and distance, but nothing that I'm getting excited about. Emmeline has a 35% chance to win, as top rated after 12p stats over the 2000 class D Vaal Classic. Nothing to get excited about. 35% chance to win for a 2.7. 8th race, and yeah, Chenopod has a little bit more than Travelling Wilbury. That's the favourite on the bomb roll and the bat figures. You can see bomb roll clearly ahead, 8 lengths. When you add the bat, which is the adjusted time figures and the distance and the weight, then it does get less, 6.83, but it's still green. So 6.83 on the green is on that 1200 Vaal. But that was when he just won his maiden. So he's now in open company. And Travelling Wilbury's only had the 1 run in open company. And the other part of it is Travelling Wilbury actually won in the wet on yielding conditions. So that is part of the consideration. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people will go for Travelling Wilbury as their banker in the exotics. I would never ever banker exotics in the 8th race or the 7th race if there's an 8 race card, because the last leg of the jackpot is a monstrosity by itself, where the bookies does reconcile very well. So Chenopod is my first choice. Burnt Jasper is my second choice. He won well for us last week when he was a greenie for us at 14-1, and he's only got the extra 1 merit rating for his troubles, now merit rated 74. Nathan Klink is still riding. He did pop up in there, and he did come running on. And the 200 meters should therefore maybe suit. On top of that, the 1-2000 is done. He also won. So Burnt Jasper, not a bad little runner at that price. My second choice. She is a cracker. Robbie Sage is my third choice. Another one that's just won his maiden, so it's not an easy race here. Travelling Wilbury, that's just had 1 run after being his maiden. And then Astral Plain, that's also has had now 4 runs since not being a maiden anymore. Open field and nothing on the nose here. But yeah, Genoprod definitely the best value if I'm looking at Matsunyane and what he's achieved and his last improvement. Fortunately, that improvement was with Guinguicha and not with Matsunyane, so nothing really that's standing out here. In the 9th race, I'm going to go with my first choice here as Push Off. Improvement should be coming. He did have flashing back figures here and then a bad run after that. So he's back down to the lower value. I think the 1600 was too far, and the 1200 meters he really did very well on. He came third and won. He's got Gavin Larena back on again as well, so Push Off is probably going to improve over this kind of a distance. Ice Eater, my second choice, with best overall ranking, most greeny points, best adjusted time, and the best bat curve. I quite like the bat curve always. Does take 1.5 kilos off. My third choice is Inherit the Rain, another Mike the Cox stablemate, 11 to 1, does have the best bat 42 figure. So you can see here 3.06 with the second best Galactic Warrior, which is my fifth choice, and then Procrastinator is my fourth choice, which is the Paul Matchett and Kumalo. 12 to 1 has the best bum roll and bum curve and the best exact course and distance blue bat by quite a margin. If you look at the 5 versus the 13, then there's quite a bit of a margin on there. So that's how I see that. On Harry Secret, Doris Sham, he won for us as a greenie just the other day as a maiden plate. Yeah, on the 14th of Jan, and now he's in open class. That was the greenie that I missed out on. That was at 17 to 1 the previous day, and when I got my money on, everyone else was already on it, and it started at 7 to 2, and it still won. But yeah, I could have actually made a lot more money on it because it was a greenie at 17 to 1 2 days prior. You can see what happened here: 14 to 1, backed in, backed in. At one stage it was at 7 to 2, started at 7 to 1. That's it, guys. Nothing standing out for me. I'm quite not very excited about it. Senescence may be the best one, but I'll cover with Masakan. But other than that, really boring kind of fall day that there's so much sport on offer. Rather just use all our editors' picks and make some proper money with only 2 probable outcomes and not 30 probable outcomes. We've got a lot of editors' picks here. You can see these ones are finished already, and 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. It's clearly showing you that our editors' picks are going well. And there's some more that's finished here overnight. And 1, 1, that's 1 lost. 1, 1, 1, lost 1, 1, lost 1. So most of them is winning. Editors' picks is definitely quite consistent. And yeah, we've got some hockey editors picks coming. We've got some football tonight going. So yeah, there is quite a lot of happening. Unfortunately, not much for me in the horse racing today. Have a great day. Speak again tomorrow.